All right. Let's get to the topics. I hate to do this. Here. Someone just asked, what's Howie's next big move? Here we go. I think you may be forced to trade Devonta Smith. I think you may be forced to trade him. As much as I love this player, as much as I think he's gifted with the talents of being the greatest Eagle wide receiver, you're not going to have two. Nobody in the National Football League has two $20 million wideouts. No one. Nobody. There's no, how about this? Nobody in the NFL has this. Think about what and how pathetic the Eagles are not believing in their quarterback. Nobody's going to have two $20 million plus receivers, a $10 million running back, and a $50 million quarterback. And by the way, before LJ gets his ass in a bind, I get the cap, but you still write the checks if you're the owner. The owner's got to see production. I don't give a shit what it does on the cap. If I'm paying $50 million to somebody and he underdelivers, I don't want to pay him that. Whether it hits my cap or not, what's the point if you can't win it? So in 4 players, you have $100 million in 4 players of your $255 million salary cap. Name me a football team with a $50 million quarterback and two $20 million receivers. There isn't one. I looked it up. You're going to have to pick one. And you really can't pick AJ because BJ's right. It's too much of a cap hit unless the Eagles want to eat that cap number. Someone has to go. Who is it? Ain't going to be the quarterback. Why? Because of what BJ says. His cap hits are not relevant. They don't hurt the team. It's just the optics of him not being a $50 million quarterback. Okay? Okay, Matt. See you. Have a great weekend, Matt. Congratulations to you. Sorry it was too tough for you. Pick one. Someone has to go. Who goes? You are not going to have 2 wide receivers, even if you pick the 5th-year option up. That's $18 million. You are not going to have 2 wide receivers at $20 million. Nobody in the league does. No. Matt, name me a football team that has that dynamic. You will not have one of them. Pick one. Pick one. Who goes? Do you trade AJ and take the cap hit? Or extend Devonta and draft a receiver, take 22 and 53 and move up and get another wideout? Or get Bowers and get a receiver here. So you know, 65% of the last 10 years, Pro Bowlers and wide receivers were second rounders. Okay? A.J. Brown's a second rounder. Devonta Adams is a second rounder. Cooper Kupp, I think it's a third rounder. I don't even know what Tyreek was. All the top flight wideouts in the game were second rounders. Over 60% of the all-pro or Pro Bowl receivers were picked in the second round or later. Bob, Tyreek Hill was a fifth. Shit, I think Antonio Brown was a fifth. George Pickens was a second. Still, since he's in the same position and is looking to move from T. Higgins. Hey, T. Higgins is not going to start the season on the Bengals. He'll be traded on draft day. Okay? Joe Burrow's the highest paid player in the league. Wait a minute. I don't know what Chase's deal is. Because Chase's deal's coming up soon, right? I think Jamar Chase is still on a rookie deal. He might still be on the team. Okay? But the Bengals picked up that option for Higgins. I think Chase is on that rookie deal still another year. Then the following year, they'll have to decide on the option or extension. Okay? Talk about the dramatic of extending Smitty. AJ will want a new deal. If he doesn't get one, he'll hold out. Hurts will be pissed off. That's a great... Hey, Xander, put Sam Fleming up. I hadn't thought of this. Sam, you're onto something. Talk about a dramatic. Think about, hey, Sam's right. Hey, Sam, if you extend Smitty and he makes more than A.J. Brown, is Brown going to hold out for a new deal? Absolutely. Absolutely. I hadn't thought that. You're damn right. Hassan Reddick wouldn't have held out. This guy will. Because if you're bitching on the sidelines about targets, you're going to bitch about dollars more than you are targets. There is no question. That is an absolutely outstanding area that nobody in Philly has hit on. Very good, Sam. Sam, you're going to create chaos if you extend Devonta Smith with A.J. Brown on the team. Absolutely. And then you're going to have infighting in the huddle. And then your lack of leadership at the quarterback position won't be able to handle it. This is going to be a complete disaster if they extend him. Absolutely. What a dynamic that I hadn't thought of. Way to go, Sam. This is why we have some of the best people that watch this sport and are fanatics with this sport, because I hadn't thought that. I got to tell you, I think that is absolutely a brilliant take. A.J. Brown will be the biggest cancer since Terrell Owens. Okay? How many people, hey, let's do this. Let's do this. If they pay Devonta Smith more money than A.J. Brown, how do you think A.J. Brown will act? Wait a minute. Ty brings another great point up. Smitty isn't close to A.J. Brown in skill set. Well, when Kyler Murray signed a $46.1 million deal, making $6 million more than Patrick Mahomes, Do you think he was more of a skill set than Mahomes? Or was he the next guy up, as you guys like to say? Or Dallas Goedert makes more money than Travis Kelce. You think Dallas Goedert is better than Travis Kelce? He's not. Goddard was the next guy up. McMullen said they will not go over $24 million for this reason. AJ crying per usual. Well, then I'm not signing my contract if I'm Devonta Smith. I'm not going to not sign a contract for more money because I don't want a guy on the other side being a bitch. I don't want to play with that. Oh, wait, I have to take less money because he's a bitch? No, thank you. What does A.J. Brown's wallet and bank account have to do with me if I'm Devonta Smith? What's that got to do with me? What possibly could that have to do with me? If I'm fighting for my family and families' wealth for the next 17 generations, why do I care what he thinks? I don't care. And I'm going to sign a lesser contract because he's a bitch? Not me. And get this. AJ will look like Terrell Owens. That's why he's AJ Owens. Look at this. Sill's drunk ass F today. Mark doesn't want to accept. You see what's happening here? You don't want to accept that you have a crybaby wide receiver who has to have things his way, targets his way, and hurts Jalen Hurts as a quarterback because of his attitude. He doesn't play championship football. The guy on the other side plays championship football. He doesn't. He's going to cry about money and targets. That's all he's ever done here. Has he produced? Yeah. So Terrell Owens produced in the NFL. What did he win? Dick. Randy Moss produced. What did he win? Dick. Great. Put up all those numbers, and guess what you were? You were the Kirk Cousins of wide receivers. Were you great? Yeah. But you refused to play. Antonio Brown even played championship football. He even played it. Brady got to him and connected with him enough to get him a ring. Antonio Brown has a ring. And Moss and Owens don't. Why is that? Because they only cared about their bag of money and their targets. Well, welcome to the world of Divaville. Okay? Anthony, if this situation comes to fruition, no quarterback would tolerate this. Jalen has no backbone to control the huddle or the wide receiver room. Anthony is somebody that I am starting to love even more because you know why? He probably disagrees with me on 70% of the shit that I say. But some of the things that he and I agree on are right to the point. Anthony, let's do this. They're working on a contract. That's what's being leaked out from NovaCare, right? That's what's being leaked out. Here, how about this? I promise you, if you convince me in another way, you know what I'll do? I'll go, you know what? Sam had that great take here. If they pay that guy more money, you know there'll be a problem. And get this, I think it manifests itself on the sidelines. We've already seen targets manifest itself. Game plan, meltdown, quitting on coaches, quitting on each other. He could be as divisive as a player that the Eagles have had since Owens. Is that hyperbole over the top? Or do you think that he has the characteristics of acting like that. How about this? Hey, think about this one too. Xander, think of this. How about if the roles were reversed and Devonta Smith had the bag of money? How about this, Anthony? Watch this, Anthony. Let's do the roles reverse. Let's say Devonta has the money and the bag of money, and A.J. Brown was in line for a contract extension, and they gave A.J. Brown the contract extension, and they paid him a couple million more than what Devonta was making. Do you think Devonta would bitch and hold out? I don't. I think he has enough character to know he was just the next guy up. But A.J. Brown's ego won't allow that. He won't allow. Remember something. He left Tennessee and bitched at Tennessee because Tennessee came in $5 million under the market value. What do you think he's going to do if they pay Devonta $3 or $4 million more than he's making? He's going to demand a trade. He did in Tennessee. Why wouldn't he do it in Philly? Why don't you go with the guy who has a track record of doing that? Right? A.J. Brown has a track record of doing that. Tennessee didn't give him the money he wanted in the market. You know what he did? He held out. So they traded him. You give Devonta Smith more money, he'll hold out and demand a trade. He's done it already. Look, hey, I honestly don't think AJ would be mad. Marshall, he gets mad when he doesn't get the ball thrown to him. I mean, you really don't think trade AJ for Marvin Harrison. You're not getting that high in the draft. You're not going that high in the draft. If that's the case, just keep AJ and trade Devonta for max value. AJ's still a better player. Okay. That's the point. Pick one. Pick one. Okay. Xander says, well, AJ's still the better player. Okay. You're not keeping both. Which one? Bob brings a point up, and this is to Howie's strength. Sills, the other option would be restructure AJ, give him a bag of the current cap and lessen the hit. This is where Somebody asked, what's the next big move? It could be dealing with these two wideouts here. Okay? AJ was right, though, because Titans GM got fired for not giving him the money. No one's debating that. I'm telling you what the player did. No one's debating that. Should the Titans have given him the money is a different conversation. I'm telling you, once he didn't get it, he demanded a trade. It's not the point. And that is hindsight now. You didn't know that then. His career numbers in Tennessee were not overwhelming. He never had more than 63 catches in a season and over 1,100 yards. It wasn't spectacular. It was Hunter Renfrow-like. You make it sound like he was a superstar in Tennessee. He didn't have superstar numbers in Tennessee. Look it up. And the last year he got hurt. Okay? Still seems so mad. Like this is so mad. Ryan. Once again, Ryan. Okay? I get mad when my kid's not home or she's like, having problems in school. I don't get mad at this shit. It's frustrating to watch an organization just constantly get in its own way. Okay? He's a superstar now. Look at Corey. Once again, Corey is. Hey, Corey. Let me ask you this, Corey. Let's do this. Corey, you there? So A.J. Brown's a superstar, right? How many people think A.J. Brown's a superstar? Make a point to him here. And we'll do it again because obviously, okay, no. A.J. Brown's a superstar. Is Devonta Adams a superstar? He's the highest paid wide receiver in the league. Devonta Adams. Who else? Stephon Diggs. Another $20 million guy. I'm really just going to go with the $20 million guys. Let's see here. We'll do, and I did this before for some of you because, sorry for being repetitive here. Tyreek Hill didn't have his big deal when he won his Super Bowl in Kansas City. So A.J. Brown, Devonta Adams, Stephon Diggs. And by the way, Justin Jefferson's going to be a $30 million guy, so we're going to put him in there. He's getting his contract. What do these guys all have in common? All $20 million and never won a Super Bowl with that salary. Why have a guy like that with all these superstar wide receivers and you don't win with them? Can you answer that, Corey? You pay all these wide receivers all that money, and one guy won one prior to getting his money in Miami. How come big-time paid wide receivers don't win Super Bowls? Can you help me? Marshalls, I just can't see it seals those two receivers. Protect the Eagles' $150 million investment. Hurts. Why not just trade Goddard? Goddard is not, dude, you're not going to, nobody has $20 million pairs of wide receivers. Mike Evans just signed his brand new deal with the Buccaneers. Was not a $20 million guy. Now he is. No $20 million wide receivers won a Super Bowl. Why have him? What's the point? Hey, Corey, what's your point of paying a guy? He's a great player that hasn't won you shit. And you've won how many games now? 25 in 2 years? He got his numbers last year, and your team imploded. How can a guy have a career year at wide receiver and your team implodes? Your team implodes. He has a career year. That sounds about right. They demand targets, derail offenses, make them one-dimensional. You can't win with these guys. Agreed. Completely agree. You don't win with big money receivers. That's why, get this, here. That's why these wide receivers are all on numerous teams. throughout their careers. Andy Reid agrees too. So did Belichick. So is McDermott now in the Bills. They're going to find out. We're going to find out more about Josh Allen this year than we ever will about Jalen Hurts. At least you can do this. Well, if he doesn't win, there's nothing up there. There's nobody there. I mean, you have the highest payroll offensive huddle in the NFL right now. Counting your O-line, there can't be a more expensive offense in pro football than that team. Think about that. The Eagles have the highest payroll offense in National Football League, and they have no Super Bowls to produce over the last 2 years for that. They got an appearance, which is cool. They got a Super Bowl and a nuclear meltdown. I'm not going to change my opinion on Josh Allen. He's a better talent. Sills, the Vikings aren't competing for a ring. Jefferson would be smart. Okay, hey, I would say this. If I'm Justin Jefferson, why would I sign a contract extension in Minnesota when I can get the money anywhere I want in the league? I'm the best player at the position in the league. I can get $30 million anywhere, and I can find the best situation for me and my team. I mean, why not go to Houston? Okay? I know they just got Diggs, so that's probably out. Why not go to Washington? Washington's got a bag of money. You can go to Washington. Shit. In theory, you could go to Kansas City. They got the money to pay him. They got the money to pay him in Kansas City, but that's not how they think. Marshall, if you can shed light, how did the Colts handle two top receivers back in the day with Peyton? Just curious. Rams did it too, I believe. Marshall, the Rams never – Cooper Kupp wasn't making that money until after they won the Super Bowl. Okay? He didn't make that money. He signed that new contract after they had won. So there weren't a lot of guys making a lot of money at the Y and Z. Okay? The Colts – back then, the wide receiver position was not the coveted position when it came to payroll. Back when those guys played, it was a different league. And remember something, the offenses back then, it didn't go through the wide receivers. Like Dick Vermeil said, when you had those spread offenses like Peyton Manning had and like Kurt Warner had, it went through Edgerrin James and it went through Marshall Faulk. Those were two Hall of Fame running backs that they had. There were two Hall of Fame running backs that those offenses went through. And you had to get a ground game going. Marshall Faulk was an essential part in that St. Louis Rams offense. Okay? I mean, and plus, for the record, Kupp took a hometown discount to stay in Los Angeles because he wanted to be with McVay. He took a pay cut. Trading Smitty and rewarding Brown, and with someone of the Browns' attitude destroys locker rooms. Yeah, because you're putting too much faith in your wideouts. My football team can't be designated that the leaders on my team are the wideouts. I want to take that dimension out of there. Look what Buffalo did. Some of you in here, I mean, constantly, you don't get it. Stephon Diggs not being in Buffalo is the greatest thing ever to happen. Get that meathead out of there. I don't want to hear his bitching anymore. Okay? I mean, I don't want to hear that guy bitching. Okay, Sills, everybody isn't Mahomes or Brady to win with no-name guys. Well, I'll tell you something. I saw a guy in Jordan Love go into Dallas and beat the piss out of the Dallas Cowboys. And I can't name you those receivers. They're all young guys. Okay? I'm talking about the greatest show on turf, Rams. And those guys were all good players, man. They were really good. Torrey Holt and all them guys, they were fabulous. But they weren't making big money like they are now. Matthew Stafford, I wouldn't consider Mahomes or Brady. Would you? Did he just not win one? I wouldn't consider Nick Foles, Mahomes, or Brady. He won one. I mean, you don't have to be Tom Brady. And he beat Brady. You don't have to be Brady to win a Super Bowl. In the last 10 years, it's been proven. You could be Matthew Stafford or Nick Foles and win. Right? Who are you moving? You either have it or you don't. How many pieces does Jalen need? Could we imagine if we had Allen on the roster or even someone like Love? Correct. Someone who knows how to throw from the pocket. Hurts doesn't. It hurts you. That's why you went and got a running back. They're not signing guys like that in Buffalo or Kansas City. I think what they did with Jordan Love, they're still not sure. You know why? They got Josh Jacobs. And you know what I also say this about Baltimore? I think they're not sure still. Eric DeCosta, Ozzie Newsome, Steve Biscotti. I'm not sure they think they can win a Super Bowl with just Lamar either. That's why Derrick Henry's in the room. I'm not sure they think that. I think in Cincinnati, Burrow's got to stay healthy. And now there's no excuses for Herbert. By the way, look at what the Chargers did. Chargers got rid of every single top flight wide receiver. And he's going to have an MVP type season this year. Why? Well, he's got a great play calling head coach. Coaching matters. Ask Jordan Love. I mean, there's no big time wideout. They're going to draft a wideout. Could I see the Chargers trading for T. Higgins? Yeah. I could. I could see that. Eagles aren't moving anyone from the offense for 24. Now, next offseason, AJ will be traded, but not now. So you're going to extend. Are you extending or are you picking the option up? If the Eagles don't have the leverage here. They only have the leverage on one part of this story. The 5th-year option. Don't you think they would have done that by now? Why haven't they done that? Are they thinking of trading A.J. Brown? Why wouldn't you have already done that? Now you have until May 2nd. But why wouldn't you want to get that out of the way? Seems like a foregone conclusion that you would pick up the 5th-year option, doesn't it? Saves you some money, gives you a little time. Devonta gets to see what the market settles on with Jefferson and with Lamb. Why wouldn't you have done that? Or you think of trading him? Or you think of trading A.J. Brown? Paul thinks that the Eagles have complete control. It shows you how stupid he is. If you offer me a 5-year contract extension and I don't like it, I don't have to sign it. It's not mandatory I sign it. I'm still under contract with my rookie deal. And you have till May 2nd to pick up the option. And if you don't, I'm a free agent. And I walk out of your building last game of the year, Paul. That's how that works. That's a fact. Two $20 million wide receiver is possible. Half the DF are rookie deals. It's possible. What team has two $20 million wide receivers? Name me one. And a $50 million quarterback. Name me one. Name me one in the league. There isn't one. Jalen Waddle is still on a rookie contract. There isn't one. There's 0 teams with even 18 million and 25 million and 50. Somebody's going. Okay? Okay, now here. Here. Why haven't they picked the option up? So Philly D goes, so there isn't one doesn't mean, and it can't work. What it means is you're not addressing your defense because you're spending all your money on one side of the football, dude. And it's why you're going to win 7 games, because you're not addressing that side of the ball. You have an unbalanced roster, and you know it. And yet you got a dilemma to deal with here. Sam hit on something. Absolutely. Why haven't, okay, what would be the reason you haven't picked up the May 2nd option for Devonta? Anyone? Dan, there's zero reason that D. Smith has to get extended this offseason. Okay. A.J. Brown is already defense contract through 26. Okay. So you're going to pick the option up and have a guy. Why haven't you done it then? If it's a foregone conclusion, wouldn't that have been one of the first things you did? They've already picked the 5th-year option up on T. Higgins. They picked the 5th-year option up on Patrick Surtain, who was in that draft with Devonta Smith. Why haven't they picked that 5th-year? I think they picked the 5th-year option up on Jalen Waddle. Why haven't they done it in Philly? Any reason? Because they're trying to extend him first. So you're going to pay him more money than AJ. Good luck. And you're going to have 2 $20 million wide receivers. Never work. No way will you start the season. If they give him a contract extension, you are not starting the season out with 2 $20 million wideouts. That's a foregone conclusion. I told you Stephon Diggs had no shot at being on the Bills this year when September came. Dead on. Not a chance that A.J. Brown would be on this team. They'll take the cap hit. Got the money to. I agree with Xander. Brown's a better player. Smitty's next up. Has nothing to do with being better. He's the next guy up. Seals, over the last 12 Super Bowls, only 2 winners had a top 10 receiver. Denver and L.A. Denver and L.A. We had 2 and lost in 22. Smitty's equity can be used to build the defense. True? Okay. Rumor has it they're trying to work a deal out for Smitty for $98 million. Okay. Over 4? So you're going to pay him $25 million, which is more money than AJ. $5 more million than AJ makes per year. Is that what you're saying, Dave? Right? AJ got 4 years, $100 million. Okay. So this is going to be 4 years, $100 million. Why in the world would he take less money for a guy who signed a $100 million contract 2 years ago? So he's going to take less of a market value deal. Why would he do that? It's not perfect. Who in their right mind would sign a 2-year-old value contract? You're Devonta Smith, who's put up $3,000 in the last 3 years. How far did Chargers ever get with Williams and Allen? Okay. AJ's cap hit. I'm asking you. So you're going to sign Devonta Smith to the same contract that he signed 2 years ago, going on 3 years now. There's not a football team in the National Football League. You have the most expensive offensive huddle. If you extend that guy, you're going to have the highest payrolled offense in pro football and the most underappreciated defense with cast-offs and one-year contracts. It's so unbelievably lopsided that you can't win. The Eagles have no chance to win with one-year reclamation projects and hopes. There's not one for sure player on defense. Not one. It's a cast-offs. It's a collection of cast-offs. Non-starters. People who were cut. Trades. Nothing with equity. You don't have one player on that side of the football field that you could trade with any equity except Jalen Carter. The rest of them, you could never get market value for what they were. Maybe Milton Williams. You could probably still get a 3 for him. The rest of them, you think you get the 13th pick in the draft for Jordan Davis? You couldn't get a first rounder for him. You'd be lucky to get a second rounder for him. Could you get a first rounder for Carter? Probably. Not the 9th pick. Dean, could you get a third round? You couldn't get a 7th rounder for him. Devin White, if you put him on the open market, he was on the open market. You couldn't get a 7th rounder for him. I mean, Nolan Smith, could you get the 31st pick for him? You couldn't get a 5th rounder for him. What do you think you'd get for Bradbury? 7th rounder? What would you get for Slay? 4th, 5th rounder? Gardner Johnson? 5th rounder? Reed Blankenship. I'm not interested in trading for him. Okay? No interest in that. And plus, with Bradbury's money that's tied to him, he has no market value. Now, you look at your offense. A.J. Brown, big value. Mulata, big value. Landon, big value. Cam Jurgens, value. Lane, probably still great value. Goddard, some value. Saquon, value. Hurts, someone would give him money. You have no value on defense, none. And you want to give a guy $20 million at wide receiver that will still result in you having a nuclear meltdown anyway, because you haven't addressed the side of the football that caused your demise. The inability to move the ball and the inability to stop the run game. It really makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And here, why haven't they extended, or excuse me, why haven't they picked the option up? Because they want to sign him to a contract paying him more than A.J. Brown. Really? And you're going to go. Now, I'll tell you one thing it also does. Hey, Xander, think of this. Everyone, think of this. If Jalen Hurts shits the bed and that football player absolutely craps out, it's a ready-made football team for a guy to walk in there and take right over. And he would have weapons after weapons waiting at his disposal. Could you trade Jalen Hurts for a first-round pick if he has another shitty year? No. You couldn't. If he puts 3 shitty years to 1 good year as a starter on the resume, you'll never get a 1 for him. You can't have 3 shitty years and 1 good year and call yourself an elite quarterback. Okay? And here's LJ. I'll disagree. LJ says 0% chance AJ or Smitty gets traded. Filling time? Okay. Well, once again, it'd be the only thing in the league that's ever happened where 2 receivers were making $20 million. It's not filling time. You know what filling time is? Is waiting to see what the Eagles are going to do, on what kind of deal they're going to put together. That's filling time, because they could end all of this by just giving him the option and picking it up, and it would end all contract negotiations. And you could pick this up next year. Why haven't they done that? Because they're looking at the collateral damage that they could have with that diva receiver on the other side. As once again, AJ doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no clue, 0. When it comes to the fundamentals on how you look a couple of years down the line, and also what you're looking at in the league and where the league's going now. The league would rather be on rookie contracts than paying veteran wideouts. You see that, right? It's becoming more prevalent that they would rather get on a rookie contract with a receiver, get the equity of the rookie receiver with the big money quarterback, and get as many years out of that receiver as they can before they move him. Once again, Devonta Adams, 2 teams. A.J. Brown, 2 teams. Stephon Diggs, 3 teams. Tyreek Hill, 2 teams. All these big-time wideouts that you guys keep telling me are so important to teams, why in the last 5 years have they all been moved to multiple teams if they're so important to the success of a team? Why? You don't trade benchmark players at 25 years of age if they're crucial to your success. Why are these organizations moving off these guys? Mike Williams is now on his 2nd team. Why is that? I mean, these guys are moved more than edge rushers. Okay. Now, as they saying, each team values positions differently. Really? Since when do the Eagles value wide receiver positions? The last 2 years? Oh, wow. So that's a change in philosophy. They value their receivers more on the perimeter. Okay? First time ever. Now, get this. Kansas City doesn't value them. Buffalo doesn't value them. Who else? Cincinnati's still in a good position because Jamar Chase is on a rookie contract. The Rams don't value wide receiver positions. They got one guy making great money. The rest of them, Puka Nacua was drafted in the 3rd round. They'd rather be on a rookie contract. Get this. You know how you balance that out? Cubs money, 3rd round money. Okay. You can't balance Dick out. You know why? You failed numerous times in your draft. You do not work the equity of a rookie contract in Philly. Again, that hurts you defensively. You're in the position you're in right now defensively because you don't handle your equity in your business right in drafting. Okay? Which contenders don't have stud wide receivers? Which contenders have won Super Bowls with stud receivers? I'll wait. Mike Evans wasn't on his contract that he is now. He'll never win again in Tampa. Name me one. Tyreek Hill's not winning one. CeeDee Lamb's not going to win one. A.J. Brown hasn't won one. Devonta Adams hasn't won one. All these stud receivers, what have they won? The overpaying of quarterbacks and wide receivers is prevalent now. Kyler Murray's not going to win. Derek Carr's not going to win. Josh Allen hasn't won yet. Joe Burrow hasn't won. Justin Herbert hasn't won. Jalen Hurts hasn't won. Lamar Jackson hasn't won. And you'll go, well, okay, well, why not be like the 49ers? Pay everyone else and not the quarterback. I can win with Matthew Stafford. Antonio Brown was making $1 million on a one-year prove-it deal in Tampa. He wasn't making big money. What are you talking about? He got fired with the Raiders, got fired in New England, then he got fired after the year with, and that's how Tampa signed him. Signed him to a $1 million deal. Okay? Once again, LJ's right on the cap hit. Still, you got to pay the guy. Why in the world would I want to pay a guy $50 million if he's not worth it? He's right. Get this. The only thing that's good on the Jalen Hurts contract right now is the cap hit. He's sure not playing to a $50 million guy. He's not a $50 million quarterback. He can't read defenses. He was third in sacks when it came to blitzes, and he was awful on third down. I don't know, 50 million? And a completely nuclear implosion. That's a $50 million guy. Derek Carr's certainly not a big money guy. I'm not paying that money. Hey, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and AB, we're not making big money. Okay? And he can't evaluate players around him like the other $50 million quarterbacks do. Excuse me. He can't, hey, think, like I said, how about this one too? Anthony, it's not that he can't elevate those guys. They got their numbers. He can't elevate himself. In 2 years, hey, Anthony, have you ever seen this? A quarterback 2 years in a row has two wide receivers go over 1,000 yards, and that quarterback can't get over 25 touchdown passes in any given season and go over 3,900 yards passing. Have you ever seen that? It tells you the struggles he has. And then you'll turn around and go, well, he has won 25 games. True. If the Eagles were in the AFC, they're not winning those. Playing against better people. Like last year, those coordinators would have been torn apart by those quarterbacks. You were torn apart by Drew Lock. I mean, I used to be a Hurts fan as well, but my eyes are widening this past season. That's crazy. Let's do this. Let's give him the 24 year. I think you give him the 24 year because there's no excuses now. You got a so-called coordinator. You've added, and now you're going to add $20 million to Devonta's pocket. How many people think Devonta Smith is a $20 million wide receiver? Like, would I build my offense around him? Is that DK Metcalf or Deebo Samuel? Would you pay him 20? Would you pay Jalen Waddle 20? I mean, is that guy Jamar Chase? He's certainly not just, I mean, I'm not going to compare him to Justin Jefferson. Tua says he's worth it. Is he? Okay, well, let's do this. Hey, Cowboy fan, 304. How many yards did CeeDee Lamb have last year? Over 1,700 yards? Is CeeDee Lamb a $20 million guy? $25 million guy? 23, 24 million? Is he a top flight $24 million guy? Would you pay that for him? Ty, you think CeeDee Lamb is a $25 million a year guy? $304 goes like this. I'm a huge CeeDee Lamb fan, so I'll say yes. Okay. So when 304, let me ask you this. So when you see CeeDee Lamb, you see Devonta Adams, DK Metcalf, you see AJ Brown, and you see those guys when you see him playing, right? I don't know. I see Devonta Smith when I see him. Remember, Smith is getting his numbers out of a second role. Okay? CeeDee Lamb is a track star wide receiver. If it's a physical game, he's a non-entity. Look what Alexander did to him. Shut him completely down. I thought the Packers mugged him. He's reliable and no drama guy. He's worth the money. He is a no drama guy in a drama city and on a drama team and on a drama franchise. Okay? Hey, don't forget, Dave Wanstat's going to join us. And we'll get his thoughts at 4:30. Guy works for the Chicago Bears broadcast team, also Fox Sports, 3-time Super Bowl defensive coordinator with the Cowboys. We will talk with him. And also Chuck Todd. We'll talk a little sports with him. He's a gigantic sports fan, the news director at NBC News and a dear friend of mine for years. Will join us. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern time. Talk a little OJ with him. We will also talk, by the way, that whole OJ thing was interesting, listening to Bob Costas. Bob Costas was great friends with him. And I didn't know that Bob Costas got a call from OJ from the Bronco. And he was trying to get a hold of Bob Costas when he was in the Bronco. And some technician answered it and just put the phone down. Jalen's cap hit is $14 million. Josh Allen's is $30 million. That's why we can spread the money at other premium positions. Cap number is all about all that matters. Again, I'm not paying for somebody who's not worth it. And I don't get, and get this, LJ wants you to have the highest pay. You have the highest payroll. You signed that extension. You will have the highest payroll for a quarterback who can't get it done. The objective is to have a quarterback that makes players around him better, not players around him make the quarterback better. That's your problem in Philly. You're trying to put so many good players around Jalen Hurts to make him better. Hurts has to make them better. Those players are not elevating his game. That's a fact. His game has not elevated with the addition of 2 1,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard back. His game has not elevated. And if you can't see that, words can't get through to you then. His actions get through to you. Nuclear meltdown, second in INT, no comparison to where he was 2 years ago. Those players around him are not elevating his game. Facts. No matter how much money you spend, you're not elevating his game. No matter who you hire, you're not elevating his game. Hurts has not elevated his game. Where? 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 Hey, Greg, don't be upset because I'm pointing out the facts and you want to spend $20 million on a wide receiver who in the last 2 years has given you over 2,200 yards in receptions. The other guy's giving you almost $3,000, and the quarterback hasn't gotten better. First in INTs was Josh Allen, and 4 straight AFC championships, and has a better winning percentage than Jalen Hurts. He's a better player. And by the way, they're not adding players to his huddle. They're making him elevate the players around him, unlike your guy. You've got to spend a treasure trove of players and money so that it takes apart your defense. Guess what? To try to make Jalen Hurts the quarterback that they want him to be, they're sacrificing the equity and the players on defense to do it. That's the frustration covering the Eagles. They don't get it. They would rather have Hurts get better than win games. They should be putting more of their emphasis on the defensive side of the ball this year instead of signing running backs and working on contract extensions for guards and tackles and for whomever. Josh Allen, silver medal. No, doesn't matter. But I'm not spending a ton of money for him. I'm spending a ton of money for your guy. Now you want another? Get this. Here's what LJ wants. So here's what you'll do if you've signed a contract extension. You will now spend an additional $15 million on the brand new contract for Landon Dickerson, another 10 for Barkley, and another 20 per year for Hurts. You'll spend $50 million on offense and increasing the salaries on players, not counting the quarterback. $50 million. And in places like Kansas City and in Buffalo and in Los Angeles with the Chargers, they're expecting their quarterback to make others around them better, not others around them to make their quarterback better. That's the difference. And by the way, I'll eat that $30 million cap hit with Josh Allen when I don't have any first flight. Get this. So how about this? Jalen Hurts plays for a franchise that wants to win. No, they don't. They want control. Get this. So LJ's telling you that $30 million cap hit for Josh Allen is not worth it. And yet, he's the only guy they have. If Josh Allen's not on the Bills, they're a 3-win team. If Jalen Hurts is not on that team, they're a 9-win team. You should be with all that talent. Hey, get this. If Jalen Hurts is not on that team and you're paying all that money and you guys win 5 games, well, you overpaid for everyone. That's a bum. You got the highest salary offense in pro football. Allen will miss the playoffs. Jalen won't go to a Super Bowl with $155 million offensive payroll. The most expensive car in the entire race won't get it done again. The players in that huddle don't make that quarterback. Hey, has A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith elevated Jalen Hurts? Yes or no? Have they? They have. Then why is he high in turnovers? Then DMC, they elevated him. He can't throw for 25 touchdowns, and he was third or second in turnovers. How did he elevate his game? How did those 2 wide receivers elevate his game? And you went 1-7 down the stretch. How did they elevate his game? And you had a 1,200-yard back. How did they elevate his game? coaching. Wait a minute. Coaching couldn't have been that bad. Your two wide receivers are two 1,000-yard receiving guys, and that's like almost unprecedented. 2 years in a row? Coaching couldn't have been that bad. Those guys got their numbers. What guy's working on a contract extension now? So wait a minute. If things were so bad for the offense last year, Landon Dickerson got a contract extension. Devonta Smith is working on one, and you just signed a $100 million wide receiver or a $10 million back. How could it have been that awful? He was second in turnovers to your boy. Okay. Still wins as much as your guy. And wins division titles. Unlike your guy. Okay. Amari Cooper playing way better in Cleveland than he did in Dallas. Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. Sills, Chase, Waddle, and Smitty are all due to get extended or their fifth-year options exercises. None have. Chase is a true number one. He is. Waddle and Smitty are number twos. Yes. But I do like Smitty, man. I'm not – hey, you know I do. You know I do. Wins as much at less than half the cap hit and wins as much with less the payroll you pay for your team. So the cap hit's worth it. Get this, every price you pay. This is where LJ and I completely differ. Because every bit of money you pay for Josh Allen is worth it. Because you know why? You're not spending money on a wideout. You're not spending money on a running back. You're barely spending money on the O-line. You have no money invested in tight end. And it's all in the quarterback. So if his cap hit's high, fine. I'm spending a ton of money at my receivers, my offensive line, my running back, my backups. It's the highest payroll in the NFL is Philly. So if I've got a high cap hit for the only star in my huddle, okay, sure. You see, Allen is being asked to elevate players around him. Players around Hurts are being asked to elevate Jalen, which means this. The more they add money and players around Hurts, the less I am confident he'll ever win again. And so is Philly. Get this. You had more confidence in Carson Wentz. You didn't spend money around Carson Wentz. Not like this. You spent no money. You had no money invested in wideouts. You had a tight end and a back O-line. No, you didn't even have a back. You had two guys you picked off the open market when you went in the Super Bowl in 2017. Okay? You spent no money on your offense. Your O-line, your O-line is not near as good as it is now. And you didn't spend near the money. Shit, Jason Peters even went down. You had backups in the O-line. We won off talent or scheme. Got exposed, Sills. I think the talent doing the same shit, Nick. That's probably more what happened last year. And then the talent quit on the scheme. And then they quit on the coach. And elevated his iron. That's all that guy has. He doesn't tell you he's won 4 straight AFC championships or 4 straight AFC East championships and has a higher win percentage than Jalen Hurts. He doesn't tell you that. The Bills were in salary cap hell, so they had to let go most of their players. Yeah. $44 million. Well, they were $43 million over the cap. Most of them were defensive players. So let's be accurate, right, Prince? Most of them were the defensive players that they let go. Pear and all them guys. Most of them were the defensive guys. They let a ton of defensive guys go. That's correct, Bob. Bob, this is clearly one of the takes that I've had for the last 10 years. Seals championship teams make tough choices. Belichick would trade a player a year or two early instead of a year too late. Reed traded Tyreek Hill. This move will show us who Hurts is. Yeah. We all know we had Kansas City beat in a Super Bowl. There was a fluke pick six fumble, and they won by a field goal. Jalen outplayed Dave, that is such a lame-ass take. We don't know that. Why? Because they've done it 2 years in a row. This guy has a fantasy, Dave, about something that he said that was, get this, he had better numbers, but when it mattered the most, Mahomes outplayed him. In games like that, it's not about a stat line. It's about making critical plays and critical coaching decisions that win you those games. Not putting up numbers and not putting up scores. It's scoring at the right time and making the big play at the right time. That's the difference, son. So Ellen had a stacked team too. No, he didn't have anybody stacked. No, he's never had a stacked team. Ever. That old line is good, not great. Allen has had a top 10 offense because of Allen, dickhead. Because of Allen. You mean to try to tell me you actually think that there's 2 1,000-yard receivers on that team and a 1,200-yard back and 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers in the O-line? Are you high? And he's got a defensive coach. This guy is lying. He's trying to make a lie fit Hurts like a jacket. He's lying. He's completely lying. Completely lying. Let me see here. Look, okay. One thing is for sure. He went to the damn Super Bowl when they played defense. Hey, Slagger, again, that Super Bowl appearance is fool's gold on how good he is. I pointed out to you that there are numerous quarterbacks that have got, you think, Rex Grossman's great? Or like Mark Sanchez going to 3 straight AFC titles is great? Crazy. Crazy. I mean, hey. So you're going to spend as much money as you possibly can. You have to keep salary in context with personnel on the club. AJ, Saquon, Goddard. Lots of options, less individual productivity at some point. You must get there. So the Bills' defense wasn't stacked. Again, your offense is stacked. I'm talking about a balanced football team. Buffalo didn't have to have a stacked offense. If they had better play, they were pretty good defensively up there, absolutely. That's why they had to jettison most of the players this offseason that were on the defensive side. Absolutely. Yeah. You don't have anything on defense stacked. You win with defense and you win with a quarterback. That's what Buffalo's looking at. You think you win with an offense and no defense. And the year you had a defense, you did go to the Super Bowl. Well, when all those players left and you had to do it all over again, you couldn't. Rex Grossman was never in the MVP talk. Carson Wentz was. Finished second, too. Carson Wentz was. Holy cow. Bang! Current D. Draft 2 cover linebackers in the second. Would work to keep wide receivers if Vic runs a title. Mint and nickel. Given UGA and Florida State from 15 to 17. I think you're talking about. Leave that up, Xander. 15 and 17. Florida State, you're probably talking about Verse. Ran those fronts. Nolan excels. Jack linebacker and Sweat could, but must move weak. White and Jack interesting, but can't at inside linebacker. I would say this, James. He's going to run that 34, though. But you're saying if he goes to nickel, 15 and 17 with Sweat. Put Verse on the other side out there. Is that what you're saying? I got where he's coming from. Let me take a look at that. I want to double check that. I want to double check it. That's all. Look, I'm just going to ask a question here. Okay. And even 34. Okay. And even you're going to be in that front. You're going to go to nickel. Most of the time, you're going to be in at 69.8% of the time. So you like the kid Verse there. I think he's – I mean, you'd have to move up to get him. Because where you are right now, the only edge guy that's going to be down there is going to be that Latu kid from UCLA. So you're going to have to think about possibly him. Defense at 22 was overrated. Once the D-line didn't get pressure, the secondary got destroyed by Mahomes. Nick, a lot of that. They played bum quarterbacks that year. Go back and look at who they played. They played a ton of bums. They weren't very good. They were giving up like 75% completion percentage to all the really good ones that they played. And they were it was totally fool's gold in a lot of ways. They were like 17th against the run. They had a high volume sacks. They used Reddick right. And once they got to 2 defensive tackles, Linville Joseph, and they got Adama Sue in there, they were able to use him in a way that helped his skill set a lot more. Okay? Get this. DMAC, here's something else. You don't have 4 linebackers. Get this. So you're addressing a contract extension with Devonta Smith, and you don't have 4 linebackers worth of shit. Where is your priority? They have no priority on defense. None. That the Hassan Reddick deal is all you need to know. Oh, where's the extension still? I forgot to open the show with that. I mean it. They have no priority. And they're assuming that this coach is going to fix this. No way. No way. No way does that guy fix that. No way. Not a chance he fixes that. Bob Brown. Sills holding both wide receivers keeps the Eagles on the Roseman roller coaster. If both stay, we could have a good or even great year. Then we tear it down because bills must be paid. No sustained success. That's what Jeff Kerr, who goes on with Birds 365 all the time, says. There's just no consistency there. Not giving a 30-year-old $25 million. See that right there? Frederick goes, I'm not giving a, but hey, Frederick goes like this. I'm not giving a 30-year-old $25 million. Who said the Jets are? Why didn't you just keep him? The Jets aren't giving him 25 either. Frederick, why don't you just keep him? You'd rather pay for a guy who's not a starter. You paid $18 million for a guy who's not a starter. And even Howie said he's a projection. So you went from a player who gave you 4 years in a row and 2 years in Philly, 27 sacks, to a guy you're projecting to be a 3-down player who's never been. In the time he's been in the league and he wasn't drafted. Okay, well, good luck again. We shall see. They want him to be Reddick. Well, you had Reddick. You had Reddick. Okay? Marshall, man, you've been great. Thank you, man. Okay? I don't know what's. Let's see here. Let's see if they pay the money. Well, they haven't. The 15-17 was for 2015 and 17 at FSU when Sarah was there. And they ran the title and mint prior to Smart doing at Georgia. So all our front have experience in the 34. It's a great take. That's why, James, now I got it. So that they're going back to the third. Okay, now I got it. James, you think the personnel that they got from Georgia, and one of the reasons that they're bringing the 34 back is because Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, Kelly Ringo, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter all played in that front when even Tracy Rocker was the D-line coach down in Georgia. Got it. Okay. Got it. So they're going back to familiarity. And he met Josh Sweat, too, at Florida State, too. I got it. So they're all going to be familiar. They're all going to be familiar, okay, with what they're looking at when they go to these OTAs. I think they start Monday, that brand new OTA that they have in there, right? This is a hammer year. 5 wins. Nick will be fired. Hurts could be 2, depending on how bad it really is. This team would probably be in a dogfight with the Panthers. Wow. That I'm not hoping for. Okay? That's why the Eagles got so many OTAs. Taylor. Marshall hit it. Okay? Okay. See here. James. Yeah, next week is cardio, I heard, though. They're going to need to be in cardio. They're going to need to be in really, hey, that's good, too. So they're actually going to, get in shape this year. That's a big thing. But if they draft 2 inside cover LBs, then we could be set with their existing players. Yeah, they don't have the starting linebackers on their football team right now. They just don't. Okay? They just don't have that. All right. Dave Wannstedt's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk with him, and we're going to get his thoughts. And we'll see what he has to say. And by the way, we'll ask him about all this because Dave Wannstedt won 3 Super Bowls as a defensive coordinator in the National Football League with the Dallas Cowboys. And he was the coordinator on those Cowboy teams. He did not run a 34. He ran a 43. But we'll ask him what you said, James, especially with the linebacker position. We'll talk that. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in Chicago because Chicago's the only team that really has control of this draft right now. Why? they have the first pick. Okay? Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.